Brianna Ghey was a 16-year-old transgender girl who had a bright future ahead of her. She was a talented singer, dancer, and artist who dreamed of becoming a star. She was also a loving daughter, sister, and friend who touched the lives of many people with her kindness and courage. But on February 11, 2023, her life was brutally cut short by two of her classmates, Scarlett Jenkinson and Ratcliffe, who stabbed her 28 times with a hunting knife in a park in Warrington, England. The motive behind this horrific crime was a twisted obsession that Jenkinson had with Brianna, who she wanted to kill and keep a part of her body as a token. Jenkinson and Ratcliffe were both 15 years old at the time of the murder and had a history of violence, drug abuse, and mental health issues. They were also fascinated by serial killers, torture videos, and satanic rituals, which they watched and discussed online. In this video, we will explore the events that led to the murder of Brianna Ghey, the trial and sentencing of her killers, and the aftermath of this tragedy for the families and the community. We will also hear from the family of Scarlett Jenkinson, who broke their silence and issued a statement of apology, saying that what she did was beyond their worst nightmare. The murder of Brianna Ghey was planned and executed by Scarlett Jenkinson, who had befriended Brianna a few months before the attack. Jenkinson had developed a romantic interest in Brianna, who she knew was transgender, and had expressed her feelings to her. Brianna, however, did not reciprocate Jenkinson's feelings and wanted to end their friendship. Jenkinson, who had a history of self-harm, depression, and suicidal thoughts, could not accept Brianna's rejection and decided to kill her. She enlisted the help of Ratcliffe, a former champion kickboxer who she met on a dating app. Ratcliffe, who had a history of violence, drug abuse, and antisocial behavior, agreed to assist Jenkinson in her plan. Without knowing much about Brianna or her relationship with Jenkinson, Jenkinson and Ratcliffe lured Brianna to a park in Warrington under the pretext of meeting for a chat. There, they attacked Brianna with a hunting knife that Ratcliffe had brought with him. They stabbed Brianna 28 times, inflicting unsurvivable injuries to her chest, neck, and abdomen. They also tried to cut off one of her fingers, which Jenkinson wanted to keep as a souvenir. They then fled the scene, leaving Brianna to die in a pool of blood. The murder of Brianna Ghey sparked a massive police investigation, which involved more than 100 officers, forensic experts, and witnesses. The police quickly identified Jenkinson and Ratcliffe as the prime suspects, based on CCTV footage, phone records, and DNA evidence. They also found a wealth of incriminating evidence on their phones and computers, such as messages, photos, and videos that revealed their motive, plan, and execution of the murder. They also discovered that Jenkinson and Ratcliffe had a shared interest in serial killers, torture videos, and satanic rituals, which they watched and discussed online. They also found evidence that Jenkinson had tried to poison Brianna with pills a few weeks before the murder, and that she had researched how to kill someone and dispose of their body. Jenkinson and Ratcliffe were arrested and charged with murder and were remanded in custody until their trial. The trial of Jenkinson and Ratcliffe began in November 2023 at the Chester Crown Court. The trial lasted for 4 weeks and was attended by the families and friends of Brianna, Jenkinson, and Ratcliffe, as well as the media and the public. The prosecution presented a strong case against Jenkinson and Ratcliffe based on the physical, digital, and circumstantial evidence. They also called several witnesses, including Brianna's mother, Esther Ghey, who gave a heartbreaking testimony of her daughter's life and death. The defense tried to argue that Jenkinson and Ratcliffe were suffering from mental health problems and that they were influenced by drugs, alcohol, and peer pressure. They also tried to claim that Jenkinson and Ratcliffe did not intend to kill Brianna and that they acted in self-defense after Brianna attacked them first. However, the jury did not buy their arguments and found Jenkinson and Ratcliffe guilty of murder after deliberating for less than 2 hours. The sentencing of Jenkinson and Ratcliffe took place on February 2, 2024, exactly 1 year after the murder of Brianna Ghey. The judge, Justice Michael Leeming, sentenced Jenkinson and Ratcliffe to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 22 years. He also lifted the reporting restrictions that had prevented the media from naming Jenkinson and Ratcliffe due to their age. He said that the murder of Brianna Ghey was a cold-blooded, premeditated, and savage act that was motivated by obsession, jealousy, and hatred. He also said that Jenkinson and Ratcliffe showed no remorse, no empathy, and no humanity for their victim, and that they deserved to be named and shamed for their crimes. He also praised Brianna Ghey as a beautiful, talented, and courageous girl who had a bright and promising future, and expressed his sympathy and admiration for her family, especially her mother Esther Ghey, who had shown incredible selflessness and empathy towards the families of the killers. The sentencing of Jenkinson and Ratcliffe was followed by a statement of apology from the family of Scarlett Jenkinson, who broke their silence and expressed their sorrow and regret for what she did. In a statement released to the Warrington Guardian, they said that the last 12 months had been beyond their worst nightmares, as they had come to realize the brutal truth of Scarlett's actions. They said that they agreed with the jury's verdict, the judge's sentence, and the decision to name the culprits. They also thanked Esther Ghey for her incredible selflessness and empathy towards their family, and said that her compassion was overwhelming and they were forever grateful. They also apologized to all of Brianna's family and friends, the community, and everyone else that had been affected by this horror. They said that they were in turmoil, but their immediate focus was to make sure that they did not do anything against the wishes of Brianna's family. The murder of Brianna Ghey by Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe was a shocking and senseless crime that shook the nation and the world. It was a crime that exposed the dark and dangerous side of the internet, where young people can access and share violent and disturbing content without any supervision or regulation. It was also a crime that highlighted the need for more awareness and support for transgender people who face discrimination, harassment, and violence simply for being who they are. But above all, it was a crime that robbed a young girl of her life and a family of their daughter, sister, and friend. Brianna Ghey was a victim of a cruel and evil act, but she was also a survivor of a brave and noble journey. She was a girl who lived her truth and followed her dreams despite the challenges and obstacles that she faced. She was a girl who inspired and touched many people with her talent, passion, and spirit. She was a girl who will never be forgotten and who will always be loved. Brianna Ghey's untimely death left an indelible mark on her family, friends, and the community. Her memory lives on through the stories shared by those who knew her. She was more than a victim. She was a beacon of courage, resilience, and authenticity. Her artistic talents, dreams, and unwavering spirit continue to inspire others. Brianna's legacy serves as a reminder of the importance of acceptance, compassion, and understanding for transgender individuals.